I overestimated how easy it was going to be to just like show up at a new job, in a new company, in a new industry, and just like hit the ground running and get everything done right away.
All right, I want to welcome you back to another Q&A with my lovely wife, Amanda. And in this week's video, I talk about what I call the career pivot penalty, or what I'm trying to reframe as this career pivot investment. And it's around the idea of how far back you have to go in your career. It could be from a compensation standpoint, but we'll probably talk more about kind of the responsibility and kind of building some of that expertise back up. Do you have a sense for how much of this penalty you had to pay, maybe in the first year?
I think what I felt like I lost was my network. So my people, my reputation. People didn't trust me right out of the gate because they didn't know what I was capable of. I think something you said in your video was you knew how to get stuff done. You knew what questions to ask. I was confident in who I was as a person, but I still think it's difficult because the technology is so different. I had a really great sense of purpose in my past career. Felt like I was kind of on the way to mastering a subject. And so starting over from scratch on that is pretty tough. And I think it takes definitely a few years. I think it takes, minimum 6 months to figure out what your job even is, to understand who the stakeholders are, and then it takes another 6 months to figure out how to do your job effectively, and then it takes another year to build up a network. And so it does take time, but I think you're right in that you reap the benefits. You need to put in that time if you kind of have this end goal in mind, and you need to take that path to get there.
And you probably do need to go, I think there's some balance. Like, you don't want to go back to the beginning. You can't regress too much, but there is you have to certainly plateau and probably even regress for a period of time. And it's like this reinvestment in like a new network, a new reputation. There's probably some distinction between like the specific knowledge you had, like sort of for completions, or for me it was drilling. But then there's all these other competencies that you kind of bring with you. I don't know, I'd always said before I felt like I left like 20% of my knowledge behind that was basically useless. It could be higher, but then you come here to this new thing that you had to learn that 20 or 30% new again. But the 60 or 70% or 80% maybe you take with you with like that expertise. But I do think it takes longer. I think people are like when they get the first job, even when we landed at Apple and Tesla, like I thought that was the end kind of the pivot, but like really it's a couple of years, to really get back up to speed, to rebuild that reputation, the network, and some of that expertise again. That step backwards feels like what keeps a lot of people away. I don't know if you have a sense of that or not.
Yeah, I think I overestimated how easy it was going to be to just like show up at a new job, in a new company, in a new industry, and just like hit the ground running and get everything done right away. But I also underestimated the skills and the expertise that I had gained over the last 7 years in my prior industry that were really invaluable and were so transferable, and they could go anywhere and do anything.
Just kind of like contradicting in a way. It's like you probably realized you had more skills to take with you, but still to learn new ones did take, it didn't take 7 years, but it didn't take 7 days, Okay, I think this is a complicated topic. I'm probably going to touch on it a little bit more as I go, because there is, I think, some tactics and things you can do to mitigate this regression. And thanks again for watching, and thanks for Amanda's input. Yes. All right, thanks again.